What happened today with the Fed emergency meeting? Well, first of all, it's not actually an emergency meeting. This is a misleading headline that I've seen repeatedly today. And actually, my live stream earlier today, I was talking about it as some emergency meeting, when in reality, it actually happens every other Monday. There's no doubt that we're in an unprecedented time with the Fed, these decisions that they have to make, and with these tariffs that are crushing the market right now. And Bitcoin's below $80,000 today, and seemingly possibly even going to come down to like 70K, guys. In the last 24 hours, actually not even in the last 24 hours, since this morning, we've already seen stories come out that Donald Trump is now threatening an additional 50% tariff to combat the reciprocal tariffs put into place by China from our reciprocal tariffs. Things are getting a little crazy. People are talking about emergency meetings. What's going on? What happened with the Fed today? And what do you need to be aware of? Well, let's talk a little bit about it, guys. Welcome back to the Crypto Report. I'm Crypto Kip. I'm on a run today. You guys will appreciate this. I got my Batman fanny pack on. Yeah, I rock a Batman fanny pack when I run. It's awesome. I got this at an amusement park once upon a time. But no, today I did my live stream this morning. I looked at the markets. Everything's in chaos. Everybody's panicking. So what did I do? I got out. I'm enjoying a nice run in my very beautiful forest here, close to where I live. Actually, really neat running path. But I'm touching grass today, and honestly, regardless of the Fed, interest rates, inflation, tariffs, don't forget about life, guys, okay? I love cryptocurrency. I talk about cryptocurrency every single day, and these moments, these stories coming out, they impact the prices of crypto, no doubt about it. And the reality is we're supposed to be in a bull market right now, but we are struggling to see some upward momentum because of all these different things going on. So let's start with this emergency meeting. Again, it wasn't an emergency at all. Not one bit. It was just a standard meeting. Now, we're kind of there's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of emergency, but this wasn't some unplanned meeting. This was a classic meeting that the Fed has to address, the ongoing issues that are happening here with the economy. And this is just standard things that they do. Now, there's some people today that during my live stream in the comments section were like, oh, it's going to be a rate cut. It's going to be a rate cut. Well, it's not. It's not going to be a rate cut. In fact, if you take a look at the odds right now of a rate cut, we're actually seeing the odds of a rate cut continue to go down. And now today, Trump came out and announced a potential additional 50% tariff on China if they don't cut their reciprocal tariff back down to zero, which is likely going to cause more pain here with inflation in the U.S. and more fear in these markets. Look at this path, guys. Look at this wooded path. It's awesome. So what am I doing? I'm touching grass. I'm DCAing. I'm holding on to Bitcoin for the long term. The reality of the situation, guys, is that I really feel like if you're holding one Bitcoin, I think that one day you could be rich. I was talking about this. There was a post earlier today where somebody asked that question, and I really believe that the answer to that question is, if you hold a Bitcoin, you could be rich one day. Because let's talk a little bit more about this Fed situation. Now, with this news of this emergency meeting that's not really an emergency, you've got people talking about a potential Fed put, okay? What the heck is a Fed put? Personally, I'd never heard the term before. I had to look it up and I had to figure out what it meant. But essentially what a Fed put is the Fed manipulating monetary policy. Oh, manipulating the currency, manipulating the stock market. What a Fed put is when there's a financial crisis going on, when the stock market is in peril and in chaos, the Fed sometimes, historically, and they did it in 1987, I believe, and I think they did it in 2009, they basically have this emergency trigger lever that they can pull, which is just cutting rates, even though for inflation purposes they probably shouldn't. They could just cut the rates because the pain is so great in the market that if they cut the rates, it opens up an avenue for them to do more things with monetary policy and shuffle some money around to bring relief to the market. The problem with a Fed put is that it sets a precedent for investors to then just do whatever they want and get extremely risky, and do whatever they want to do without fearing any consequences. And then you have way more of a risk-tolerant market doing things that frankly are irresponsible, and it could lead to more issues down the road. So a Fed put is, well, it could pump the prices in the short term. In the long term, it leads to issues kind of like we saw during that the housing market crash back in 2008, 2009. We do not want to see a Fed bailout. Okay, so like the banks were bailed out back in the housing crash, and we do not want to see that essentially play out with the stock market. Though, do we want our stocks to keep going down? No, we want things to get back on the right track. And so we could be hopeful that tariffs are going to work in the long run. We could be hopeful that they're not going to hurt inflation. Or, the Fed could just act now and cut the rates. Now, President Trump wants them to cut the rates now because I think he has confidence that he's going to be able to solve some of these other issues. So in other words, Trump is right now looking for a Fed put. To be honest with you guys, I don't know exactly what's going to happen here, whether we're going to get just a premature cut from the Fed, because right now the odds are looking in May 7th, about 1 month from today, we're actually going to see another FOMC meeting. Right now there is about no chance. There's like a 60-something% chance, 67% chance right now that we're not going to get a rate cut, that we're going to get a pause. There's like a 30% chance that we're going to get a 0.25% rate cut. Now that we have the tariffs continuing to increase and that uncertainty coming, the Fed has spoken about this and he is concerned. And the markets are certainly showing some concern. And this is why what I say, guys, is step outside, touch some grass, look at this moss, touch some moss, get outside, forget about it. Just, do you like Bitcoin, right? If yes, DCA in over time and continue to get into Bitcoin, and then you could play altcoins as well. I think there's going to be an altcoin season coming still later this year. I think we will get rate cuts at some point later this year, despite all this fear. Let's forget crypto for a second on our crypto channel. If you are looking at the S&P 500 right now in the traditional market and the prices that are falling, if this is an upsetting time for you and you're mad or you're scared, this is historically when you're mad and when the markets are fierce and bloody to the downside and there's fear and there's panic and chaos. These are historically the best times to buy. If it's an asset, if it's a stock, if it is going to keep going up over time, like the S&P 500, like gold, like Bitcoin, when it's low, accumulation is the answer. So no official results from this Fed emergency meeting. That was not an emergency today. That was fake news. What do I think is going to happen? I don't think anything's going to happen until the FOMC meetings, and we're just going to continue to be able to monitor the Fed probability of the Fed probability calculator for a potential Fed cut, or maybe even a pause. And I think we still have ways to go. Later this year, I think things will get better. Things are probably going to get worse before they get better. I'm looking at $70,000 for Bitcoin. I'm looking maybe even at something in the 60s, maybe even a price for Bitcoin in the 50s if the tariff escalations continue, which, as terrible as that sounds, is a blessing to any of you guys out there that are looking to still accumulate one whole Bitcoin, which one point in the future, it could make you rich. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. There's a lot of volatility right now. If you want to trade this volatility, you could sign up for Blowfin using the link in the comments down below, up to a $5,000 deposit bonus, and you sign up for Blowfin using our link. I wanted to give you guys this update from my beautiful run this morning. I did, what did I do? I did like 3.5 miles, and now I'm going to walk another mile and get back to work, guys. That's all I got in this one. There's an emergency Fed meeting that took place today. That's the rumor. There's not going to be a rate cut in any kind of emergency. If there is, let's say there is, yeah, it could absolutely shoot the market up, but could set us up for a little more trouble down the road. So a very interesting time. As there's uncertainty, accumulation is the name of the game that I'm playing. What game are you playing? That's all I got on this one, guys. I'm Crypto Kip. This is Crypto Report. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. DC8 HODL. See you in the next one, y'all. Peace.